students to this.
I thought this would have already was.
I'll go ahead and keep the microphone on so I can be sure to get to the back row there. On the 22nd of November 1963, President Kennedy was shot in Dallas. He was killed. Next to him, or in the same car, was the governor of Texas. He was injured, and the Department of Hospital. You took an elevator down one floor, which put you smack in the middle of the emergency room. But that was the way you had to go to get to the hall that led back to the medical school. I beat an hasty retreat through the emergency room to get out of there. As I turned the corner to get out of the emergency room, I was run over by a gurney. There was one Secret Service guy pushing it at a dead run, another Secret Service guy sitting on the gurney in the front, cradling a .45 caliber Thompson submachine gun, and just looking for someone to shoot. That convinced me even more than the hustle in the emergency room that that place was somewhere else. I got the hell out of there. Now, Kennedy was brought to the emergency room. He was dead the moment the bullet struck. I think that, as we have discussed before, high-velocity bullet wounds and their effect on tissues. His head was struck with a high-velocity military bolt-action rifle, an Italian army rifle to be precise, and there was disastrous brain injury. There was no possible hope. He was, some emergency care was given, but he basically was dead the moment the bullet struck in downtown Dallas. But of course there are conspiracy theories. The first one that chronologically was that he didn't really die, that he was reduced to a vegetative state, and that he was being kept in secret on the 8th floor apartment. Now, you may not know it, but there's an 8th floor to this building. It's an unfinished floor where there's a lot of machinery, and there was a comparable floor in Park. And some people were convinced that his vegetative state, they simply moved him up there and kept him in secret. Nobody was ever allowed to go on the 8th floor for the same reason they're not allowed to go on the 8th floor. It's full of machinery. So that's not a likely idea. This brings us to Earl Rose. Earl Rose was a physician, a pathologist. He was the forensic pathologist at that time. He was really, really good forensic pathologist, one of the best. When he left here, he went to a Midwestern state and became chief of the entire state's forensic business. He was damn good, as well as being a hell of a nice guy. He was, however, not the medical examiner. At that time, there was not a medical examiner system in Dallas. There was a JP system where the justice of the peace, with no medical knowledge and very often no legal knowledge, was the one that decided whether an autopsy was to be done. But in any event, the JP made the decision, and then Earl Rose did the autopsy. He was extremely capable, also extremely sloppy. He was messy when he did the autopsy, but he got damn good results. Someone had caused a murder. A state law had been broken, a Texas state law. No federal law had been broken. At that time, there was no law, federal law, against shooting a president. Therefore, Dr. Rose, who was he knew the law, he told the powers that be, the feds, this body must remain here. A justice of the peace will order an autopsy. An autopsy will be done here because that's what you do when a murder is committed in Texas. And he was absolutely correct.